I planned a $9,400 family trip to Japan for Dad's 60th, then got a text. We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun. I replied, understood. That night, I canceled everything. The flights, the hotels, all of it. When they returned, the locks were changed, the rent had tripled, and their card were declined to the cafe. And that was only the beginning. Have you ever felt like an inexhaustible ATM, perpetually drained by your own kin? A mere walking, talking bank account, utterly devoid of personal boundaries? I certainly did, until one seemingly casual text message detonated my carefully constructed reality, unearthing a truth so chilling, so profoundly cutting, it ignited a conflagration of fury I never suspected smoldered within me. I can still see that message, emblazoned on my phone screen, the blinking cursor a taunting accusation. It was from my mother. Her tone, so disarmingly casual, so innocently cruel, as if she hadn't just shredded 3 months of my life, nearly $10,000 of my hard-earned money, and my entire heart into microscopic fragments. Her words, stark and dismissive. We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun. No apology, no explanation, just a digital sneer, a casual, cutting slap across my psyche. My reply was just 2 raw, guttural words. Got it. But what transpired next? Oh, what transpired next was an eruption no one, not even I, had ever anticipated. I obliterated everything. Every flight, every hotel, every reservation. $10,000, completely non-refundable. Did I care? Not one shred. I booked it. I killed it. And that very night, I drove home and systematically changed the locks on the family house. The house I owned, the house they'd been residing in, rent-free, for 5 parasitic years, probably sharing derisive laughter behind my back the entire time. Well, now it was my turn to unleash a bitter, vengeful laugh. Yet, to truly grasp the seismic shift that brought me to that precipice, how I ended up obliterating a lavish family vacation, tripling my parents' rent, and excising my golden boy brother like a malignant growth I should have removed years ago, we need to rewind. It all began with one incredibly naive, tragically hopeful idea. I yearned to be the good son. Dad was turning 60, a monumental milestone, and I thought, what grander celebration than a dream odyssey to Japan? He'd always spoken wistfully of witnessing Kyoto's cherry blossoms before his knees finally capitulated. Mom worshipped sushi as if it were a sacred rite. And Kevin, my younger brother, swore he yearned for authentic ramen, not the meager college dorm variety. So, I committed the cardinal sin everyone had warned me against. I paid for everything. $9,000 initially, then escalating past 10, covering flights, luxurious hotels, bullet train passes, even meticulously securing coveted restaurant reservations. I painstakingly coordinated the entire itinerary between crushing work deadlines, sacrificed countless weekends calculating hotel proximity to ancient shrines, comparing ticket prices. I even upgraded their flights to premium economy. Me? I eschewed luxury. I booked myself a cramped budget seat, a tiny room in Osaka, because in my deluded heart, I truly believed this was the purest manifestation of love. This was my grand, self-sacrificing gesture. But Kevin, oh Kevin, he always found a way to underscore my designated role within this family. Not the favored one, not the entertaining one, just the designated payer. So, when that text materialized, we gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun. It wasn't shock that ambushed me. No, it was something far more potent, far more dangerous. It was clarity. And let me tell you, clarity is a terrifying weapon in the hands of someone who has been used, taken for granted, and systematically pushed around for far too long. They always assumed I'd simply remain silent. Until I didn't. You see, it all started with guilt. That's the insidious hook they used to reel you in. Not with genuine affection. Not even with true familial obligation. Just guilt. My parents never outright solicited money. Not directly, anyway. No, their methods were far more subtle, far more manipulative. Kevin's really trying his best, Mom would sigh dramatically. But it's just so hard for young people these days. You're so fortunate to have a stable job. Not everyone can claim that. Or, your father and I are so incredibly proud of you. We just wish Kevin had your drive. Initially, I contributed because I genuinely wanted to. Kevin was my younger brother. I honestly believed helping him complete college was the right thing to do. I covered his tuition, his books, even purchased him a new laptop when his old one mysteriously ceased functioning a week before finals. But help morphed into an insatiable expectation so rapidly it was disorienting. 3 months post-graduation, he hadn't even submitted a single job application. Still figuring things out, he'd casually declare, while perpetually engrossed in FIFA on the living room couch. I'd return home from a grueling 12-hour shift to find him devouring takeout. Takeout I paid for, with his feet propped brazenly on my coffee table in a house I owned. And Mom, he just needs a little more time. Don't pressure him. Dad, he wouldn't even deign to glance up from his iPad. Let the boy breathe, he'd mutter, as if I were the problem. The situation spiraled further when Kevin acquired a girlfriend. Madison, Mads, as she imperiously insisted I call her. She moved in 2 months after their initial date. No rant, of course. No discussion. Just suddenly she was omnipresent. She commandeered my kitchen, my Netflix account, my Wi-Fi. One evening, I discovered her audacious enough to be trying on my dress shoes for a TikTok video. I'm doing a character, she chirped with a provocative wink. Don't be weird. Kevin simply guffawed. Dude, relax. She's funny. That word, funny, would reverberate in my head for months, a mocking echo. Still, I remained silent. I kept paying. Because family. Because what judgment would Dad cast if we quarreled? Because you earn more than enough, darling. When Kevin inevitably lost the job I'd helped him secure, by showing up late 3 times in his very first week, I covered his car payments to prevent his credit from imploding. When Madison totaled her dilapidated sedan, I foolishly co-signed a used Mazda in my name. Stupid, I know. Just profoundly stupid. And then, when they surprised us all by nonchalantly announcing their desire to join Dad's birthday trip, I didn't even flinch. I merely adjusted the plans, added more rooms, rebooked hotels. I even meticulously rearranged my own precious PTO to accommodate them. And what was my profound reward? We gave your spot to Kevin's girlfriend. She's more fun. That wasn't just an insult. It was a shattering revelation. Because that single, flippant sentence corroborated every dark suspicion I'd ever harbored. In my family's eyes, I wasn't entertaining or beloved or even respected. I was simply useful, a walking, talking wallet with a heartbeat. And the most gut-wrenching realization, I had allowed it to happen. But they weren't finished. Not even close. The morning after they landed in Tokyo, my phone vibrated. A text from Kevin. Yo, can you wire us some spending money? Mads forgot her card and Dad says the exchange rates are trash. I didn't even dignify it. With a reply. An hour later, another message. It's Dad, not you. I swear I nearly hurled my phone across the room. They'd usurped my spot, my vacation, my intimate moment with Dad. And still they demanded more. But I forced myself to remain silent. Let them enjoy it. I thought, the words laced with venom. Let them post their filtered reels of simulated family love while I sit here in my now desolate house, seething with a rage I could barely articulate. Until day 5 of their trip, that's when a call came from the hotel. Mr. Adams, the manager began, a polite chill in his voice. We're contacting you because the credit card on file for the group reservation has been declined, and there's a discrepancy with the guests listed. A non-authorized person has been added to the suite. Oh, so that was their ingenious scheme. They'd swapped me out for Madison without a single word to the hotel, used my card to cover her spot, convinced I'd never discover their deception. That was the precise moment. Not the searing insult, not the $10,000, not even being callously cut from my own father's 60th birthday trip. It was the sheer, breathtaking audacity, the absolute unshakable assumption that I would simply take it, that I would always just take it. So, I logged into my bank account, flagged the fraudulent charges, and immediately shut down the card. Then I called the hotel back. Remove all guests. I instructed, my voice surgically precise. The reservation is canceled. And please, alert security if anyone attempts to dispute this. They are not authorized. The manager paused, a flicker of apprehension in his voice. Sir, they're still in the room. I'm aware, I said, my voice like fractured ice. They could find their own way home. The day they finally returned, they discovered a profoundly different world awaiting them. I was in the kitchen, casually stirring my coffee, when I heard the car doors slam outside. Voices followed, loud, panicked. My mother's high-pitched whine. Kevin yelling. Madison's voice, shrill and angry, rising above the clamor. I didn't rush. I simply waited. Then came the insistent banging. Boom, boom, boom. Open the door. Kevin's voice, raw with fury. I walked to the front entrance, coffee still cradled in my hand, and peered through the peephole. There they stood, all three of them, red-faced, disheveled, their luggage piled like a sad, abandoned monument on the porch. Madison was even barefoot, for some inexplicable reason. I calmly unlocked the deadbolt, opened the door just enough to meet their furious gazes. What happened to our keys? Kevin demanded, his voice thick with indignation. I took a slow sip of my coffee. Oh, you mean the ones I deactivated? They don't function anymore. Kevin's jaw dropped, a comical display of disbelief. Seriously, man? He snapped. Are you serious right now? I nodded, utterly composed. Dead serious. Mom tried to push past him, her face strained, etched with exhaustion. We just got off a 14-hour flight. We're exhausted. We're hungry. You're trespassing. I cut her off, my voice devoid of warmth. This is private property. You're joking. Madison spat. Her eyes narrowed to slits. You're actually locking out your own family? I stared at her, held her defiant gaze for a beat too long, then stated flatly, You're not my family. Her jaw dropped. Kevin turned to me, his eyes wide with a mixture of shock and incomprehension. Okay. Wow, this is messed up. We were stranded in Osaka, with no money, no hotel, no Wi-Fi. Do you have any idea what that was like? Must have been tough, I said, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk playing on my lips. Imagine being stuck in a foreign country on someone else's dime. Oh, wait, that's exactly what you did. Kevin's face flushed a deep, angry crimson. You humiliated us. You canceled everything. We couldn't even get a cab to the airport. They froze the cards. They froze everything. Yeah, I said, folding my arms. That tends to happen when you commit credit card fraud. Mom gasped. Fraud? Oh, don't be dramatic. I held up my phone, screen glowing, displaying a paused screenshot from the hotel manager's email. Asterisk unauthorized guest. Charges disputed. Asterisk Kevin. I asked, my voice dangerously soft. Did you or did you not add Madison to the suite using my name? He opened his mouth, closed it, glanced at Madison. She offered a pathetic, defeated shrug. I stepped aside, allowing them a glimpse inside the house. Not that there was much left to behold. The couch, gone. Dining table, gone. All the furniture they'd lounged on like rightful owners, donated. The walls were starkly bare. I'd systematically cleared out everything they had touched. You emptied the house, Mom whispered, stepping forward in stunned disbelief. Correction, I stated. My house. You've lived here for years without paying rent. I continued, my voice gaining an unwavering strength. Without contributing, without respect. Mom's face contorted into a mask of pure fury. We're your family. This is disgusting. You're punishing us for one mistake. I laughed just once. A short, sharp sound, utterly devoid of humor. One mistake? You stole my vacation. Used my credit. Threw me out of my own plans for my father's birthday because I wasn't fun enough. Do you even hear yourselves? You're being petty, Madison scoffed, rolling her eyes. You're just mad because we had a better time without you. That's when I stepped fully outside, closing the door firmly behind me. You think this is about Japan? I asked, my voice quiet now, almost a whisper. You think this is about one trip? No, this is about every single moment I sacrifice for you. Every dollar I handed over. Every time I let you stay here, rent-free, while you gossiped and laughed behind my back. We didn't. Mom started indignant. You did. I cut her off, my voice rising slightly. All of you. And now I'm done. Kevin shook his head, a genuine look of disbelief on his face. So what? We're homeless now. No, I said. You've got 2 weeks. Rent's tripled. Utilities are on you. And the guest suite's locked. If you want to stay, you pay. He scoffed. You can't be serious. Madison folded her arms. You can't just evict us. Actually, I said, pulling a crisp copy of the lease agreement from my coat pocket. I can. It's legal. It's done. Oh, and your credit cards? Declined this morning at the coffee shop. I got a notification. The silence that followed hit like a physical blow. I turned to walk back inside. Kevin lunged, grabbing my arm. Wait, please, he said, his voice cracking, desperation clouding his eyes. You don't understand. I don't have anywhere to go. Madison, she thought this trip would make us closer with the family. She didn't mean to hurt you. Madison opened her mouth to argue, then clamped it shut, a flicker of genuine fear in her eyes. Kevin was actually crying. I looked at him, really, truly looked at him, and I felt nothing. No pity, no rage, just a clean, cold, echoing emptiness. You were my brother, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. And you traded me for entertainment value. That's not a family. That's a reality show. Then I walked inside, locked the door, and left them standing there in the cold wind. They had come back to a new world. A world without me. For 3 days after they came home, it was quiet. Too quiet. I half expected yelling, desperate guilt trips. Maybe a barrage of frantic messages in the family group chat. But nothing. I ate. Breakfast alone, coffee, a warm croissant, and a strange, deeply satisfying sense of peace settled over me. It was a silence I hadn't felt in years. Not just an absence of sound, but a profound quiet I carried deep inside. But by day 4, my phone finally flickered to life. Can we talk? Mom, I'm so sorry about what happened. We all made mistakes. Please don't do this to your father. I didn't respond. Not because I had nothing to say, but because I didn't owe them an explanation anymore. For the very first time in my life, I felt zero obligation to justify myself to people who had never truly listened. Then the real fallout began. The cards were blocked. Madison tried to buy coffee downtown, declined twice. I got the push notification on my phone, and yes, I smiled. She even posted a story. Some people are just vindictive. Deleted it 5 minutes later. A week after the new lease kicked in with the rent tripled, I received an email. Hi, we're struggling with the new rent. Could we discuss alternatives? No name, just the generic family account. I ignored it. Jobs. Kevin, who'd spent years lounging in my house without a single proper job, suddenly started picking up part-time gigs. A friend at the gym told me Kevin was now folding towels at the front desk. Pity? No, I felt nothing. I had already moved into a small loft apartment downtown. Concrete floors, soaring windows, minimalist everything. No family-style clutter, no borrowed shoes in the hallway, no half-eaten leftovers that weren't mine. I woke up at 7 a.m., hit the gym, worked from home, took long walks in the evening. And for the first time in years, every moment, every dollar, every breath belonged solely to me. No texts asking to pitch in for groceries. No guilt trips about just a little help till payday. No calls from mom whining, it's your brother. How can you say no? Just quiet. Beautiful, liberating quiet. In week 2, Kevin finally texted. I know I messed up. I really do. Mads left. She said she didn't sign up for this. I get it now. You were right. I stared at that message for a long, long time. This was the same Kevin who'd laughed at my plans, called me too serious, said I didn't know how to have fun. Now he was alone, dumped by the fun girlfriend, forced to face the mess he'd made without his human credit card. I didn't reply. Then the real bombshell dropped. A letter from a lawyer. My parents were claiming partial ownership of the house based on alleged financial contributions over the years. My attorney just laughed when I showed him. We've requested proof, he said. So far, they've sent nothing. I laughed too. Not because it was funny, but because it was so utterly absurd, so predictable, it didn't deserve anything more. They always truly believed that if I owned something, they had rights to it. I remembered my mother's saccharine voice. This is a family home, sweetheart. What's yours is ours. But now, ours meant absolutely nothing. Mom sent another message. We didn't raise you to be like this. What would Dad think? This time I did reply. Short, sharp. You raised me to serve you. That ends now. What shocked me most wasn't their anger or their frantic attempts at manipulation. It was how quickly they crumbled without me. Kevin was working grueling 10-hour shifts, scrambling to cover bills. Mom started calling old friends, the very same ones she used to mock for having ungrateful children. Dad? Silent as always. He had always been quiet. Quiet for every fight, every insult, every betrayal. His loyalty wasn't to me, or even to them, but to a chilling neutrality. And now they were finally forced to live in the world they had built. A world where I didn't exist to fix every single thing. And me? I sat on my new couch in my new apartment, drinking coffee no one could criticize, surrounded by nothing I hadn't personally chosen. For the first time in my entire life, I wasn't being used. For the first time, I wasn't obligated to show up for people who never once showed up for me. And for the first time, I wasn't angry. I was free. I realized then, with absolute certainty, I was never the problem. I was the solution they abused. And sometimes that kind of silence is louder than any scream. 3 months. 3 months have passed since I finally pulled the plug. I honestly thought I'd feel guilt or grief. Maybe an overwhelming loneliness. But no, I feel something far more profound. Peace. I wake up now without dread, without waiting for the next favor, the next manipulation disguised as a request. I don't flinch when my phone buzzes. I don't brace myself for guilt trips masked as check-ins. It's like I've stepped out of a dense, suffocating fog, and I can finally truly breathe. A week ago, I found an old box while unpacking in the new place. Inside were photos, old birthday cards, a dusty folder labeled family stuff. I opened it, and there they were. Old airline tickets, receipts from countless family vacations I'd paid for, hotel confirmations, all under my name. It hit me like a brick. Every single family memory we had was built on my credit card. They called me cold, but I was the only one keeping the lights on. I flipped through a few photos. In every one, I was smiling, giving, gifting, driving, paying. And the others? Relaxed, carefree, like passengers in a car. They didn't have to steer. I used to think that made me strong. Now, I see it made me invisible. What they loved wasn't me. It was my usefulness. And the moment I stopped being useful, they stopped being loving. Kevin hasn't messaged me since Madison packed her bags. I heard from a mutual acquaintance that he moved into a dingy basement apartment and started delivering food. And for once, I didn't feel superior. I felt nothing, just a vast, empty space where that old resentment used to live. Because now his life was his responsibility, not mine. Madison scrubbed her social media clean, deleted all our old photos, unfollowed the entire family. Her fun clearly ran out the moment the free lifestyle did. Mom, she sent one final text. We didn't raise you to be like this. We miss who you used to be. And my reply, you miss the version of me who never said no. He's gone. Dad stayed silent. Of course he did. He always did. Years of watching everything fall apart. Sipping his coffee in stoic silence. He never yelled, never hit. He just watched. And honestly, that was worse. His complicity was polite, but utterly lethal. I finally stopped expecting closure from them. So, I gave it to myself. I sat alone one night. No TV, no phone, just me and a glass of wine, watching the city lights flicker on in other apartments. For the first time in years, the quiet didn't feel empty. It felt earned. That night, I wrote something on a sticky note and stuck it right on my mirror. I owe no one more than I owe myself. And every morning since, I've read it like a prayer. Funny thing, the people who once drained every ounce of life from me now call me distant. They say I've changed. And you know what? You bet your ass I did. I used to be the bridge they walked all over. Now I'm the vast, uncrossable ocean. A few days ago, Kevin's ex, Lisa, we barely spoke back when they were together, but she'd always been quietly kind, sent me a message. You were the only one who saw through it, she wrote. The way they treated you, it was wrong. I'm glad you left. You saved yourself. It hit me harder than it should have because deep down, after years of their gaslighting, I'd started to believe that maybe I was the problem. Lisa's words reminded me I wasn't crazy. I was just the first to wake up. I used to think walking away was selfish. Now I know it's simply self-preservation. They taught me that love came with sacrifice, but never their sacrifice. Only mine. They call me cruel. I call it clarity. They call me heartless. I call it healing. They call me selfish, but only after I stop being theirs. And now the absolute best part. I don't hate them. I don't wish them pain. I just don't owe them anything anymore. And that freedom? It's like breathing for the very first time. Next week, I'm flying to Iceland. Solo trip. I've always dreamed of seeing the Northern Lights. But I never went because there was always someone else's emergency, someone else's drama, someone else's dream vacation at my expense. But not anymore. This time, I'll go for me. And when I'm standing under that glowing cosmic sky and the freezing air, thousands of miles from everything I used to carry, I'll finally say it out loud into the vast, open wilderness. I am not your safety net. I am not your plan B. I am not your bank, your backup, or your fool. I am me, and for the first time in my life, that's enough. Have you ever been trapped in a similar situation? Feeling exploited by the very people who were supposed to cherish you? What was your ultimate breaking point?